Okay, so his question is that some people call ultimate reality supreme consciousness or super consciousness. Some call it God, some call it the universe. Does it mean one and the same thing, or which one is it? So I think I shared with you, when I used to go for any kind of exams, I would always look for none of the above, all of the above in multiple choice questions, because padhna to hota nahi tha. Just all of the above. So this man, this boy he said, look, I haven't studied at all. So there was an exam, just true and false, true and false. His friend said, so how are you going to answer? He said, I'm just going to take a coin. Toss, heads means true, tails means false. For every question, I'm just going to do heads and tails and answer my questions. And so there were 100 plus questions. He tossed 100 times, and his friend was sitting, watching him, that this is what this guy is doing. So when he finished his exam, then he saw him rubbing some of his answers and redoing them. He said, what are you doing? He said, I'm tossing again just to make sure my answer was right. So what happens is, we form a certain belief. If belief becomes knowledge and you reflect on that knowledge, it would turn into an experience, an empirical kind of belief for you then. When it turns into an experience, then that knowledge changes into insight. There is no more confusion. Until then, you will keep tossing the coin looking for an answer. And that is why a lot of the seekers would walk one path. They would start to do meditation and say, ho nahi raha, ya isme kuch hai nahi, ya ye guru theek nahi hai. Something is not right. The method, the path, the guru, or the people who are doing it. Of course, because everything is totally right with the seeker, right? At all times. Something is always wrong with something else. And so the seeker believes something is not right. I have to look for something else. I have to see some other path, and so on. So they will shift to another path and jump to something else, some kriya and that kriya, this program and that program. But ultimately, if you stick with one path and you realize, if you let your belief unfold itself, you will start to see the reality. Then it changes. It's absolutely identical. There's a term called unknown. And then there is a term called unknowable. That something we don't know is unknown. And we may not know that we don't know it, which is the first level of competence or ignorance. At first, we don't know that we don't know. Everything appears very straightforward, very simple. Oh, I can do this. We don't know what we don't know. When you start to do something, you get to the second stage, which is, you know that you don't know. Now you are starting to realize there are certain things that you don't know. This path, this process is not so simple as I thought it would be. I read somewhere, confidence is what you have before you understand the problem. Once you understand it, confidence goes away. Anybody who doesn't understand will make everything very simple for you. Bas aisa kar lo, ho jayega. And then the third level is, you know that you know. When you keep walking the path, you get a mastery of the field, and then you know, oh, I know this. And the fourth is the supreme one. You don't know that you know. It's called conscious, unconscious competence, super conscious competence. What happens is, let's say you are a singer and all your life you practice a different kind of ragas, and you've championed the foundation with your classical singing. And somebody is singing a very difficult song. and you're asked, can you sing it? If you're a master of your field and you've never done this before, but subconsciously somewhere you don't even know that you can sing it, you know it already. The one who knows the reality of one thing, Buddha said, knows the reality of everything. Then the confusion disappears. This wife, this newlywed couple, and he came home, the husband, and wife made, she said, please, it's very hot served, please drink. And he started drinking, and he said, oh, you've made it? She said, yes, actually, I make both tea and coffee very nice. It's just one of my specialty. He drinks the whole cup. He says, darling, what did you make today, tea or coffee? Please clarify it for me. So that confusion arises even when you're tasting. You don't realize, you can't figure out what it is. But those questions, they disappear when you focus on just execution. When you make it your life's goal that I no longer wish to understand everything from here. Instead, let me experience it here and see where it takes me. Because that is your true nature. How? There is a simple exercise I've done with you in the past as well. So if I ask you to point at yourself, point towards yourself, just do it, everybody. Please point to yourself. Just point to yourself. See, nobody did this. Nobody said, this is me. Not even one person, even the insane ones here didn't do that. Everybody said, this is me. When we say point towards you, this is Vaikuntha, the seat of Vishnu. This is Hridaya Chakra, Naha Chakra, Srishti. If the heart stops beating, everything stops. You can have a person who's brain dead, but you cannot have a person who's heart dead. So we naturally point here. We say, this is me. Because that's our inherent, that's our intrinsic, that's our natural nature. And that is why one of the fastest routes to self-realization is through the heart. And that is why more women sit in satsang than men do. And that is why more men run away than women do. Men are always going around, sadhana karni hai, sadhana, sab chhod ke. जंगल में जाना है, हिमालय में जाना है या हिमाचल में जाना है, somewhere मुझे परिवार छोड़ देना है. A woman really says मुझे अपने बच्चे छोड़ के साधना करनी है. She has a head start. She's naturally better at bhakti. She can feel from her heart. So she always excels at bhakti and she finds the same peace, the same contentment in her little routine she may do every day that a man perhaps may not find even after relinquishing everything, even after giving up everything and going in the Himalayas and meditating to his, I was going to say heart's content, but clearly not, and meditating till his mind's tired and realizing, I still haven't seen God. Where is he? That's because understanding the truths that are beyond the understanding of human mind are only possible when you no longer engage the mind in understanding them. As Einstein would say, you cannot use the same mind to solve your problems, the one that created it at the first place. You need a different way of thinking. You actually have to go beyond thinking. Name viduhu surganaha prabhavam na maharsha. Amadiri devanam maharshanam cha sarvasha. It's not possible to know me. I've existed before everything else and everybody else, Krishna says. And because it's not possible, all the commentaries we read, all the documentation we have on him is simply somebody's interpretation as opposed to a real as opposed to a fact.